Hey, good Monday morning, everybody. I'm back in the shop for another week, and hopefully you guys, if you're watching this, you're back with me, and I appreciate that. So I'm going to get started this week, or today. I have the returning 65 Corvette. It has a few more oil leaks, but however, this time it's on the transmission, and I have my work cut out for me today because that transmission, I didn't realize how well it is tucked up into this car. So going to probably pull the transmission first thing this morning and try to get the leaks sealed on it, and then get it back in and get it back to its owner. So anyway, before I turn the cameras on and start rolling, I want to thank you guys, as I always do. And like I said before, if this is your first time stumbling onto the channel, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button, and hopefully you'll enjoy what we've put together. I do have another busy week this week. I've got plenty of stuff to work on, so I'm going to get the camera set up and we're going to start rolling, and I will see you guys shortly. So this thing is wedged in here pretty good. He just had exhaust on it, put on it, and the first thing I'm going to try to do is get that exhaust, this exhaust hanger off. I think it's going to come out okay. However, the hardest part, let's see if we can see it, is the shifter. The shifter's got to come off, and that's where the pain is going to begin. So I think also it kind of scared me for a second. I didn't realize that there were U-bolts on the drive shaft. So I thought that the U-bolts were just on the rear axle, and I'm thinking, how in the world are you going to get that out? So I'm going to set up the cameras and we'll get to pulling this thing out of here, and once I get it out, I will get back. I really only have a couple of things to say about getting that transmission out of the car. And since I try not to cuss a lot on this channel, it would be followed by, the next words I say would be followed by a bunch of beeps. So I will spare you guys that. And I had to stop the cameras. It fought me so hard that typical fashion, if they would have slid this cross member back a half an inch, the transmission could slide back, drop the nose down for the pilot to clear this, and then just pull it out the front, which is basically what I had to do. However, I had to get the yoke out and the shift plate. Those two pieces were holding up against the floor. Once I got that out, came out pretty easy. So I'm going to set up and re-gasket this thing. I don't think I'm going to break it apart and redo these two. Mainly is the side cover, the front, and hopefully I think I've got these seals. So I'll set up and do that, and once that's done, we'll throw this thing back in and hopefully stick a new shifter on it and send this thing home. It'll make it. All right, we got Dick's Corvette taken care of, and I was able to get the transmission pulled out finally, resealed it, and once again, it proved to be quite the chore getting it back up in the car and getting everything done. Also, he had a brand new Hurst shifter that we ended up installing, and I synchronized it. So that car certainly caused me to earn my cornbread for the day. So I just got a phone call though, and it was him, and he said that he got down the road and the car had died. And the first thing I asked him was if it had any fuel in it. Of course, he replied, there's a very good chance that I have ran it out of fuel because his fuel gauge doesn't work. So, ain't got no gas in it. So, anyway, I went down, got some fuel at the station, got him on his way. So hopefully he's on his way home. But I started on that thing at about it was about 8:30, 8:45, and it was a little after 3:30 this afternoon before I finally got that car done. So I think for the rest of the afternoon, I'm gonna go up here, and I've got that small block Chevy that I've put it on the run stand last week, and I'm gonna go ahead and finish bolting everything onto it, and hopefully, I don't know if I'll start it tonight, but if not, I'll start it probably first thing in the morning. So I'm gonna finish out the day on it. I will see you guys back here, hopefully in the morning. Hey, what's up everybody? I'm back at the shop, and I'll be honest with you, the last 2 days I haven't actually turned the cameras on, and the reason is I've had a lot of little small stuff that I just didn't feel like the content was going to be very good. So I've got a bunch of stuff ordered. I've got a lot of stuff coming in for Kevin C10. I've got some stuff in the back to do, but I think first thing, if you guys will remember last week, I went and finished pulling this 265 out of that 56 Nomad, and I want to go ahead this morning, and I need to get this thing disassembled and at least get it somewhat started to get it cleaned up to where I can get it repainted. So the reason they're making a lot of headway, and I really have a feeling they're going to be needing the engine drop back down in it pretty soon so they can put the front clip on. So I'm going to tear this thing apart this morning, and then I think we'll figure out what we're going to work on this afternoon. So I will see you guys shortly. So that's about as far as I'm planning on tearing this engine down. I'm truly hoping that I don't need to pop the pistons, rods, and crankshaft out of this to where I can clean up the block. So if I do, then it is what it is. But I've got to run get some degreaser and probably some brake parts cleaner so I can get this thing cleaned up. And then I'll start cleaning up the heads and the rest of the parts that go to it. So anyway, that is about all I'm going to do on that this evening. So I have to figure out what I'm going to do next. I've got some stuff that I can do on Kevin's truck, but also I have another car sitting back here that I brought in. Hopefully, it's the 77 Nova that I did a couple of weeks ago, and I've already changed the harmonic balancer on it, and he's chasing a vibration in it. So I've got a new set of motor mounts. We've already adjusted the drive shaft and pinion angles, so I probably will start on that first thing in the morning. But in the meantime, I'm going to probably throw a few more parts on Kevin's truck for the rest of the day. So I'm not too sure how much of that I'll film, just given the fact that it's all really, really small stuff. So I'm hoping tonight I've got some stainless steel brake line that came in the other day, and I'm hoping I have a straightener that will show up this evening. And if I do, tomorrow I'll probably start making the front brake line. So anyway, you guys have a great one. I will see you back here in the morning. Hey, good morning and welcome back, everybody. Today is going to be another super busy day, and I'm going to go ahead and get right into the middle of it this morning and start with this aluminum bell housing. I've got a couple of cracks to fix in this thing, so I'm going to get set up and start making these repairs, and then I'm going to try to tackle the rest of the day. So I'll see you guys after a bit. Okay, I got the bell housing welded up. Now, I didn't spend a lot of time with actually filming the welding, but I got it welded up, I got it ground back down, everything was refinished. However, once again, since today is Fight Me Friday, it was pretty much a challenge. The aluminum did not want to weld very well, but I was able to get it repaired and get it sent home. So next thing I'm going to do today, as you can see, this is the 265 that came out of the 56 Chevy Nomad. And first thing this morning, I rolled this thing outside. I used a couple of cans of Easy Off oven cleaner, sprayed this thing down really, really good. And then I ended up washing this block. Once I had it washed up real good, I brought it back inside. If you've watched some of my older videos, you've seen where I put these things in front of my torpedo heater and drive this thing out. Next thing I did was oil down the cylinders. So I'm going to finish the afternoon on this. Now, my goal for this today would be to get it back into the short block form to where I can get the cam and lifters back in it, get oil in it, and I actually want to run my primer on this by the end of the day so I can pump up the oil system. So anyway, I'm going to set the cameras up and I will jump back on here hopefully later this afternoon about the time I'm getting ready to prime this. So I will see you guys after a while. So that's pretty much gonna do it for this one tonight. I don't think I'm gonna force you guys to watch me prime the oiling system. I wanna run some oil through the crankshaft journals and maybe through the cam bearings, just given the fact I had to wash this thing pretty good today and I dried it out the best I could, but I just wanna get some oil circulating through the engine. So more than likely, or not more than likely, most definitely, I will be coming back in the morning. I was running behind a little bit this week. To be fair, Tuesday and Wednesday just did not feel right. I just didn't feel like turning the cameras on. So I put myself behind the middle of the week, the first of the week. So now I got to make up for it at the end of the week. So anyway, you guys have a great evening. I will be back tomorrow. I'm not sure what I'm going to work on yet, but trust me, I have plenty to do. So see you guys in the morning. Hey, what's up everybody? I'm back in the shop and I'm getting ready to get after it. So I think I'm gonna finish out the week on this car here. So if you guys will remember a couple of weeks ago, I had this car in and basically the owner is chasing a vibration in this thing. And a couple of weeks ago, we did some drive shaft realignment. We checked the pinion angles and set the engine and transmission angles to where we had good U-joint working angles from front to back on the car. And it still has a little bit of a vibration in it. I did already, which I didn't film, I've changed the harmonic balancer in hopes that it would tame it down a little bit. But the next thing that I'm gonna end up doing to it is we're gonna change out the motor mounts. We think maybe the motor mounts are way too rigid. So we're gonna do that. And I kind of need the engine, whenever they installed this thing, which it does have an LS1 in it, it got off a little bit sideways and they had to shim one side of it up to keep everything straight. So I'm going to end up pulling the motor mounts out. I've got a different style that has a little bit more rubber, a little more forgiveness, and hopefully that will kind of help with the vibration. So I'm going to get cameras set up and get this thing up in the air, and I'm going to get after removing the old mounts. I'm going to have to do a little bit of fab work on the new ones. So anyway, I'm going to get set up and I'll see you guys after a bit. So as you can see, those are pretty solid. And like I said, they ended up, the engine somehow got in here a little bit crooked, so they shimmed that side up. And hopefully you can see that one. It's not going to be the easiest chore in the world, but anyway, I'm going to start getting these things unbolted, and I'm going to try to lift this engine up and see exactly how much room I have. So I'm going to set the camera up and time lapse this. I'm not real sure how much I'm going to be able to capture, so I'll do my best. So I'll see you guys after a bit. So after I pulled both headers, I've got the old mounts out and I've mocked this one up into place. So I'm gonna go over here on the bench and I'm gonna give you guys a little bit closer look of the style that was in it and the new style that's going in it, and one of the challenges that this is going to present, or maybe a couple challenges. So we'll go over here and check this out at the bench. So this is the mounts that were in it. And as you can see, I've got them clamped together just to give me a flat plane across here so I could measure. So we cannot afford to raise the engine up much. If anything at all, we want to actually drop this. So currently from the base of this to the top of this, I've got about 3.5 inches. Now, this is the new style clamp that we're going to use. These have a lot more rubber in them. They're a little more forgiving. However, there's a couple of things on this. One, when they went to this, they welded up all of the factory original subframe holes that had the factory original clamp shells like this. Now, this plate is drilled and tapped, and our plan is I'll probably, once I get everything fit, we're gonna tack this into place, and then I'll end up welding this plate to the subframe. Of course, these will be trimmed off. The issue is I have about 4 inches between the top of this plate and the bottom of this plate. So I'm going to end up cutting these braces across here and trying to take, I think I can do it. I think I got enough room to where I can shorten these up 1/2 inch. So that is what I'm going to set up next, and that's what I plan on doing. I went ahead and I cut this other side. Now, I didn't see a big reason to go ahead and film that. Basically, I just took a bandsaw. I marked this. This one, I ended up cutting it 5/8 off. cut 5/8 off of that plate, and that proved to be a little bit too much. This one I shortened up, and I only went 1/2 inch with it. And as you can see, I've got everything clamped into place. Now I'm going to end up making a couple of tacks here. Then I'll take the urethane, I'll bolt this together, and then that will gap this. I can put an 1/8 of an inch gap underneath that, and that's going to be pretty easy to fill that. So I'm going to get this side tacked together. I'm going to put it in the car, and if the fitment is good, then I'm just going to cut, chop, and repeat the other side. So I'm not too sure how much more I'm going to film on this, just given the fact that it's just going to be repetitive work once again. So I think with that, I'm going to call it a wrap for the week. So once again, I want to thank you guys for following along on the channel. Hopefully, I know there's a little bit I didn't do a tech tip of the week this week, and to be fair, this week has just been a little bit off for me. Some days you just get in the shop and you just feel like putting your head down and you try to do some work, and you're just not feeling it. And this was one of those weeks finishing out. It's somewhat bittersweet for me because this is also the last week that I'm going to be in the shop full time for a little bit. I've been on a personal leave from my daytime work, and next week I have to go back to my actual day job. And to be fair, I have a really big decision to make, and it's not going to be easy. But with that, I want to thank you guys again, and I will hopefully keep putting out some good content. And I know this video is going to be a week behind, but that is okay because sometimes life happens. So once again, I thank you, and I'll leave it with this. I hope to see you on the next one.